So we've just heard a rumour that J.J. Abrams is going to be the director of Star Wars Episode 7. It's not confirmed yet, but what do we think about it?
Sci-fi monopoly, Star Wars and Star Trek.
Stargate next?
Yeah.
He's a man with too much power now, I think.
Well, it's interesting, isn't it? I don't want those two franchises to be homogenous, do you?
I think he's a good enough director to make them visually different, and they're obviously going to be very different because they got different writers and things like that, totally different universes. So I'm not worried that they're going to be too similar now.
When you hire a director like J.J. Abrams, you do that because you want certain things, don't you? Like you expect to get a certain degree of lens flare. You know. So I think you only hire someone like J.J. Abrams if you're looking for these kind of.
But at the same time, you can mention the lens flare of J.J. Abrams, but he's about a lot more than that. He's a very good storyteller, and I think he proved that with the first Star Trek movie, that he could handle this huge movie, but also keep a really cool story and really good characters at the centre of it. And I think after the prequels, that's what Star Wars needs more than anything. I'm actually thinking now that J.J.'s the best choice. He's got the experience of making a big movie. He clearly loves the material. He's the right sort of age to kind of get Star Wars without having to be told about it. And he's coming in from a really good storytelling point of view, and I don't think he'll come in and just make a film that hits the right toy bases, that's going to sell figures. He's going to want to tell a good story.
I'm wondering how much influence JJ is going to have on it though, because more than any film franchise, I think Disney and what Lucasfilm is now are going to be so protective of what direction they want to take that series. I'm wondering how much influence JJ is going to have within that universe. I mean, they're obviously hired writers incredibly early, and they're talking about writers for possible sequels or spin-off projects like Lawrence Kasdan. So I'm wondering just how much JJ is going to be able to shape this universe in the same way that he was able to shape Star Trek.
But at the same time, do you think JJ would sign up for a project where he couldn't put his own input in? I mean, he's in a position now where he can make pretty much any film he wants. He's almost where Spielberg was in the 80s. He's helping other people make films. So why would he sign up for a film where he's just going to be a director for hire? I mean, obviously he's got love for Star Wars. That's very clear. And he's made that very clear in the past that he always preferred Star Wars to Star Trek.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
But I don't think he's just going to be a hack director. He's going to want to put himself into it.
What you just said about his love for Star Wars, that's interesting because he did talk about that quite a lot when he was making Star Trek. And Star Trek is a great movie, but one of the criticisms of it is perhaps that it felt more like Star Wars, the bigger space battles and things. Do you think that that we've already seen what he can do with the space shuttle? I mean, he's already exercised those skills.
I think that is a problem. Though even so, Star Wars and Star Trek are quite different. There are crossovers, but they are quite different universes.
In fact, actually, on the note of JJ's love for Star Wars, he has already denied this when the rumours started flying last year, hasn't he?
It looked like a denial, but I actually had a look at the quote just, and I mean, he actually finishes it off by saying, I love Star Wars and everything. And so I'm looking forward to more than anyone to the next iterations of Star Wars, but I believe I will be going as a paying moviegoer. Now, he's not denied it outright. He's kind of said, I'm probably not going to be doing it, but I love Star Wars. So, I mean, he's been quite candid.
I also remember him saying before that one of the skills that he brought to the Star Trek universe was the fact that he wasn't a fanboy about it. So now, is that an admission that this is a handicap, the fact that he loves Star Wars so much?
The thing is, Lucasfilm and Disney are in a position that they've got this mega franchise. They're the ones calling the shots. That they can hunt around for the director they want. It's not like they're going to just sort of be railroaded into getting who's available. So they've obviously seen something in JJ, and I think Kathleen Kennedy, she's got a proven track record of making Indiana Jones movies. She's worked with Spielberg, and I think there are similarities between JJ and Spielberg just in terms of the way they make films and their sensibilities. Everyone's always dreamed of a Spielberg directed Star Wars movie, and maybe this is the next best thing. I mean, he does have the outstanding CV of all the candidates, and I think we just dismissed him because we thought he wasn't interested and had done Star Trek.
What does it mean for Star Trek though?
Well, it was really touch and go whether he's going to even be directed into darkness for a long time. So I was fairly sceptical as whether he'd be directing the third one anyway. So it's not that big a loss because I didn't expect him to direct the third one.
And also, he leaves the Star Trek franchise in a much better position than how he found it. He has revolutionised it, and he's taken it forward for another generation, which is what we know they're trying to do with Star Wars.
So, which JJ kind of regulars in terms of the people that he's had around him in his TV shows? Who do you think will be seeing in a new Star Wars movie now.
Oh, I thought you were talking about writers, because I was wondering,
writers
I was wondering if Damon
and
Lindelof
stuff.
could
Yeah,
write a
Damon-
Star Wars
that's the
movie that
thing.
asks lots and lots of questions but
Roberto
answers
Bocchi,
nothing.
yeah.
Well, in terms of cast, though, well, now Fringe is over. That cast is looking for something to do, isn't it?
Definitely,
Well,
yeah.
We'll have John Noble as the Jedi, shall we?
Yeah. And Simon Pegg's got to be in there now.
Well,
surely.
that's interesting. And he's a massive Star Wars fan as well.
But he
so-
already is already in the Star Wars universe, of
He
course,
is,
because he played
Dengar
Dengar in
in Clone
Clone Wars,
Wars.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
I think it's exciting though. It's definitely good news. He's an incredible director, so I can't imagine him putting a foot wrong, to be honest. And with Michael Arndt writing the script, he's a proven talent, so there's nothing to worry about.